everybody, it's Sherry with Cards and More by Sherry, here with a little quick video today about some background techniques. I decided this weekend to do a little experiment with Epsom salts. Yes, you heard me right, Epsom salts. I have this giant bag of Epsom salts I got at Walmart when I had a crazy hair up my nose that I was going to make bath and body products. Yeah, that didn't last so long. So I have this gigantic 6-pound bag of Epsom salts that I need something to do with. So I started looking at some videos that different people have done on doing sort of a model background with the Epsom salts. And I thought, well, I'm going to test this out with several different mediums, which is what I did. And I just want to kind of show you what I did. We'll do one so you can see what the process was, and then I'll show you the results. What I started with was a piece of this Strathmore watercolor. I can't get it in my camera frame. There it is. Watercolor paper. This is cold press, 140 pound. All right. And I cut it to ATC card size, which is 2.5 by 3.5. And what I simply did was I sprayed it with water first, just plain tap water, saturated it first, and then put my different color mediums on there, then sprinkled the Epsom salt on them and let them dry. And I actually let these dry for probably 36, almost 48 hours, because I didn't have time to get back to them. So this is what I came up with, and let's just go through these and I'll show you kind of what some of the results were. This one here I did with Stampin' Up! Reinkers. Again, just sprayed, dropped a couple colors, and then sprinkled the Epsom salts on there. What I did this morning is I went in with a fairly rough paper towel, and I wasn't real nice with these and really rubbed them off. Now, this probably was one of the ones that had the best effect in my opinion. And I don't know if you can see everywhere that Epsom salt has been, and you'll see this on all of them, it has left there, you can kind of pick it up down here. This sparkle, which is kind of a cool extra effect. What I was going for, though, was all of this kind of modeled stuff, and it really shows up well. I don't know if it's because it's the reinkers or because it's a little bit darker color. Not sure, maybe a combination of both. But I was the most happy with this one. This, I used Distress ink pads. Okay, I again sprayed it with water, and then I went directly to the watercolor paper with the ink pads. A couple different colors. I used picked raspberry and seedless preserves on here. Put the salt on, let it dry, etc., etc. This has some modeling. You can't really see it too much down here in the pink. I don't know that I've got the salt off really good here, but you can, oh there, look at that. Look at that sparkle. Isn't that like a fun, happy afterthought with this stuff? I don't know how permanent it's going to be. I mean, it is salt, and I suppose if you gave some flex to this, it's going to crack. But good golly, look at that shine. Anyway, this is not too bad of a modeled effect. Not as much as I was hoping for, maybe. Okay, this is a couple of different Lindy's Stamp Gang sprays, Starburst sprays that have, you can see that's not even mixed up. They have lots of shimmer in them. Used a couple different ones on here. Got a fairly good modeling on this. What I think is interesting is that the modeling turns out to be not a color that's really related to the two colors I sprayed on here. It's kind of a grayish yellow, which I'm not sure where that came from. And again, of course, you have a lot of shine on these because of the Lindy's sprays anyway, but you can see some of the additional shine from the salt, the Epsom salts. So that was not too bad. This one, this I did with Color Bloom sprays, okay, which again, in my instance, are ones that have quite a bit of shimmer in them. Used two different colors on these. For some reason, this had the opposite effect. On most of these other ones, the salt has the effect of repelling the ink or whatever you've got on here. For some reason, with the Color Bloom sprays, it like absorbed the color to it, and I can't quite get it all off of here. I don't know why, but there's still, you can hear it, there's still a lot on here. It still gave the, you can see some of the sparkle there around where the Epsom salts are, but a completely different effect than what I got on anything else, which surprised me. Alright, this vividly colored piece of yumminess I did with Dylusions ink sprays, an orange and a yellow. Now, I actually thought I would get a much stronger reaction on this because Diane's inks are so water reactive. I thought I would get a bigger reaction. Really didn't. There's a little bit of modeling. Mostly what I picked up on here, though, was, see the shine? The spray inks themselves are completely matte. There's no shine to them. But look at what the salt did. And not only the sparkle, but you can see the patterns of that sort of pick up what the shape of the salt crystals were, which was kind of cool. But direct, straight on, not a whole lot of modeling. I probably would have got a better model effect if I'd have just then come back and spritzed with water, you know. This one is Distress Paints, okay, with the little dauber tops. Used 2 or 3 different colors here. And again, the effect is a little different. You get some of the repelling, but I don't really think it repelled the ink. I think what happened is it absorbed the ink, or the ink, not the ink, sorry, the paint stuck to it, and as I rubbed it off, the paint came off with the salt. That's what I'm thinking happened, because it's a little bit different effect. Kind of along the lines of what we got here, but yet another effect. I like it. Wasn't what I expected, but kind of fun. And you do get, let's see if I can get it, some of the shimmer. You can see some of the shimmer in there, okay? Now this one I did with Gelatos, okay? And if you're wondering about my super fancy schmancy little washi tape around these, this is how I know which ones are metallic without trying to look up and and read what's on the end, is I just put some metallic washi tape around my metallic colors. Let me get those out of the way. Did not use any metallics on here, but I took 3 different colors. Again, sprayed the paper first, wet it down real good, scribbled with my gelatos, rubbed them and mixed them with my fingers, and then put the salt on. And I got a pretty good mottled effect on this. I was kind of surprised. I didn't know how it would work with the gelatos. And of course, since I used the salt, yeah, you can pick up a little of the sparkle there, okay? So, you know, some of them had the same sort of reaction, some of them had not a lot of reaction, like the Dylusions, and then we had a couple that had, I really don't know what happened here, but it's sort of retarded. No, I take that back. It's different and special. So, we got several different effects. So, what I'm going to show you today is the basic process. And instead of anything that I've already used, I'm going to try it with Distress Ink re-inkers and see how those work. Of course, we'll have to come back and see after it dries how it worked. But this is exactly the process that I use with every single one of these. Okay, I started with water, then added whatever color I was adding, and then added the salt, which I need to go ahead and get open this giant 6-pound bag. And as you can see, I don't know, can you see? I mean, it's fine, very fine stuff. I mean, I suppose if you wanted to use something coarser, you could get some coarse sea salt, even like rock salt that you use, you know, in your ice cream maker or on your sidewalks if you live someplace where you have ice. Anyway, let's just do this and I'll show you. And I'm stopping quite a bit of water on here on this watercolor paper. Dang it, this bottle will not spray unless it's just absolutely vertical. Then let's take a few little drippy drops here. Technical term, drippy drops, you know. Oh, good Lord, look at that color. This is a couple of the new colors this year from Tim Holtz. This is Mermaid Lagoon, and then I'm going to take some Cracked Pistachio. Ooh, it's so pretty! It's so pretty! Then to get that to move just a little bit more. Oh, I may not have to. I thought I might have to add some more water, but I think I've got plenty on there. Oh, good grief, look at that color. Isn't that gorgeous? Holy smokes. Alright, now let me grab a little bit of Epsom salt. And you can do as much, as little. It totally is customizable and up to you. And it doesn't take much. I mean, it's going to take me about, 50 years to get through this bag of Epsom salts. So you can see, well, rather than pick it up, let me zoom in if I can. How I've just sprinkled that all over, random, willy-nilly. And then we'll wait and see what happens after that dries. Now, I will say, let me move this off to the side. Pretty much every video that I've watched, and there's a lot, all you have to do is check on YouTube for salt background techniques, okay, and you'll find a lot of these. Most everyone says do not use your heat gun to speed up this drying process. I'm not really sure why. One of the people I watched said because it will cause, everywhere the salt is, then you will get a cloudy look. So I have chosen not to do that on any of these. I let them all air dry, and like I said, it was probably almost 48 hours on all of these. So we shall see. You know what we could do though, just to see if that's true. You want to try it on this one we just did? Why don't we do that? Let me bring this soupy goppy mess back in here. If you were my heat gun, where would you be? Apparently you have fallen. You have fallen and you can't get up. Ooh, here it is. Let's see what happens. See if I can get this kind of dry. And now I have, mine is in a embossing gun, so it's extremely hot. I don't know if it would be a better idea if you had a one of the, like the Ranger heat tools that's a lower heat. But let's see what happens here. If we can dry some of this, move some of this ink around a little bit. Of course, it's very wet, so this may take a few minutes. But let's try it. And that way we can say, without a doubt, yes, don't do this, or hey, it works after all. This is just gorgeous color. And by the way, you guys, if you're looking for the Distress ink pads, I've started carrying them in my store now. I've only got 10 colors at the moment, just to see, how they go. But I've added those to my shop, along with some stencils. You know what, let's blot this just a teeny tiny bit because it's so wet where this is puddled. And then maybe we can get it drier a little faster. These are really yummy colors together. And I'm thinking because this is Distress ink, it might be, really receptive to this technique. I'm not sure because, let's see. This was Distress paint, and I got kind of that weird thing. And then the Distress inks, where were they? See, this was when I went direct to the pad, or to the paper with the pad, and didn't get near as much modeling as I thought I would. We may not get this dry all the way, so this may not be a real good test. It's drying on the watercolor card. But where the salt is at, I don't know if it's not drying or if it's because the salt gets shiny, but it's still looking, you can see it's still looking pretty darn wet. Dry from the back a little bit. Oh look, it's even putting color on the back. So this is about exciting, isn't it, watching me dry this? But I'm impatient, and I don't want you all to have to wait. Okay, let's go ahead and try this and see what happens. Let's get a dry paper towel, and let's wipe some of this off. Yeah, this is still a little too wet, but I can tell you just by seeing already, it is going to model fairly nicely. Yeah, see right there? That's going to model fairly well. I think I will go ahead and let this dry a little bit. What I'm going to do is I have a bunch of pictures that I took of this process while I was doing it, and I will do a separate blog post about this as well and show you some of the close-up pictures. I'm going to go ahead and let this finish drying on its own where that salt is at. But to be honest with you, would I do this on a regular basis? I don't think so, because with most of the color mediums that I used, you could get the same effect much easier by just spritzing them with water or using, oh, that's a blank one. I kept flipping it over to see what did I do on this one. But by spritzing them with water, you know, sponging it off, using a stencil. I mean, you can get the same effect in a different way that I think would be easier than fooling around with this Epsom salt stuff. It's a neat technique, and the fact that it gives you that added, you know, that added shimmer is kind of a fun bonus. But yeah, I don't know that I'd do it again. This one just is so stinking pretty with the shimmer on it. So there you have it, a different kind of little background technique if you want to play with something. When this one gets dry and I get all the salt off of there, I'll post a picture of that. I think it looks like it's going to do a pretty darn nice job of creating that mottled effect, just like the Stampin' Up! Reinkers did. Because that's what I was expecting, and I think that's what I'm going to get here too. So we'll try it, we'll see what happens. I will link below the link to my blog post when I get it up and ready. We'll take a look at that and have some fun playing with stuff you already have, maybe with the Epsom salts or table salt or rock salt or sea salt, whatever you've got. So have some fun, have a crafty day. Thanks so much for coming by. I do really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.